Hi, and welcome to our session on meeting the needs of the adult learner. My name is Deirdre Mercer. I'll be providing you with an introduction regarding the adult learning theory over the next few moments. After that time, we'll take a short break and then we'll move into how do we actually apply these principles when we're constructing our training courses and how we are implementing those when we do our training. I want to take a minute here to make sure that you guys can hear my voice, that you have the capability of seeing the PowerPoint. Take a moment to go ahead and close that office door if you need to. Put a sign on it if you have to, so none of your coworkers are bothering you. Get yourself a snack. Your classroom is full of different learners, and each and every one of those learners has their own unique style regarding learning. You as the trainer have the responsibility to be able to tend to each individual's needs. You need to have respect for those differences, their experiences that they bring to that training, and to be able to know how to implement that when you are running your classroom or a training curriculum. Our learning objectives tend to focus, actually 75% of our learning objectives tend to focus on the sequential and analytical way of the outcomes that we're looking for. And, really only 10% of our learners learn best utilizing that approach. And that's why it's important for us to understand the differences between training versus teaching. Pedagogy in relationship to how we teach children is truly content-centered, and that learner must revolve around the content that is there for them to learn. And when we're talking about working with adult learners or working in a training style, we want to think about that principle called andragogy. We want to think about designing our training curriculum in a way that we center that training based on the learner, the experiences and the needs that learner has, and then we figure out a way to develop our content around what that learner is going to need from us. This was really brought to light to us in the training field by a gentleman called Malcolm Knowles. He became rather famous in the 1980s for taking that andragogy principles and some key assumptions regarding those and really putting them into practice so that we now have a better understanding of that adult learning model or that theory about how we as adults learn best. There's 6 key concepts I want to be able to share with you in this session today, and that is the learner's need to know, the concept, the self-concept of the learner, the role of the learner's experience, the learner's readiness to learn, and orientation to learning, and motivation, what makes that person want to be present and want to learn what you have to share. So first we're going to go ahead and take a look at the learner's need to know. And what we want to focus on here is the fact that, us as adults, we want to know why we need to learn something before actually embarking on the learning. And that might take into account, what are the benefits of me learning this information, of knowing this information? What kind of risks might I face in not knowing this or not partaking in this process here? How is what you are going to share with me today, how is that important to me? What am I going to be able to apply? And exactly why am I here? The next element that we want to take into consideration, the next assumption that we can have in regard to the needs of the learner, is the learner's self-concept. As adults, we believe that we're responsible for our own lives. We need to be seen and treated as capable and as self-directed. We have some self-management skills that we want to be able to apply as well. So that calls on us as the facilitator, as the trainer, to be able to create an environment where adults can develop that self-directed learning, where they can actually take ownership of that material. And there's a couple elements that we're going to be talking about later on today that really apply here. And those 2 elements of training are included are the application element as well as participation. In a moment, we'll get an opportunity to delve into that a bit further. The next assumption and thing we want to take into place is the role of the learner's experience. The folks coming to your classroom come from a diverse myriad of backgrounds. They have that many learning styles that they bring to the table as well. They want to make sure that their needs, their interest, the goals that they have in regard to this are also valued when they come to training as well. One thing that you might face that can be a barrier for you being heard as the trainer is some of those experiences might foster some ingrained ideas or biases to the information that you're going to share with the person as well. And so that calls on you as the facilitator to, again, create that environment where we begin to help each and every participant feel very valued and very safe in our classroom. And we want to foster a sense of participation by utilizing techniques such as discussion, possibly some simulations, maybe some problem solving activities, and maybe actually some case studies that we can use to really help the learner bring their experience and their knowledge base into play in this training as well. When we discuss orientation to learning, we want to respect the fact that adults are life-centered, if you will. Some of us very task-centered, maybe problem or solution-centered. And in our orientation to learning, we want to understand that what we are going to learn here is going to help us perform our tasks better, maybe deal with any current problems that we might have in everyday situations. And so we want to present this content in real life and in real time to our learners. The next assumption that we want to take a look at is that learners' readiness to learn, if you will. We come to the table and we want to learn things. We want to know how this is going to happen. We want to make sure it's timely, it's relevant to the job that we do currently, and that we're going to understand some real life situations as well that this can help us with. A vulnerability of training that's simply focused on the future or doesn't take this current life situations or work situations into context, the vulnerability of that is that actually it will be much less effective for our participants. The sixth and final key area of the needs of the adult learner, I view as the most important, and it's one that's going to stream through each and every aspect of our training as we develop this training module together, and that's motivation. There's two kinds of motivation. Individuals can be motivated by external motivators such as better jobs, higher salaries. But for most of us, I think we're internally motivated. We want a sense of good job satisfaction. Gosh, I learned how to do that and I do it super well. My self-esteem has been enhanced, has been increased by what I'm able to do and what I'm able to produce as well. So I had an opportunity here to share with you those 6 key assumptions regarding the needs of the adult learner. And what we want to do is we want to understand, how do we take this information from here and develop it into some teaching and learning strategies that really can help best assist our employees and the folks that we train in being able to be participating in that training. I understand that several of you have to leave us at this time. What I would like to do is take a break for just a couple minutes, and then I'll ask that you guys will be able to rejoin this webinar session in about 5 minutes. And at that time, we'll be able to delve into the key elements of training, those ions of training, if you will. And this will help us understand how to apply this adult learning theory that we've learned a little bit about here today to the actual content of the trainings that we'll be looking at designing. Thanks so much.